Hey folks, Pat here from DNS, and this Madison area fishing report is current as of Friday, August 15th. Well, happy Friday, everybody. We made it through yet another week, and it's been busy here this morning. I'm getting this report out kind of late, and we do have a lot to talk about, so let's just get right into it. You might have seen these videos floating around social media on the internet here, and it's University of Minnesota has been doing some studies on the effects of wake boats on local waters. And full disclosure here, I am not a fan of wake boats, but if you don't know what a wake boat is, it's like a ski boat. If it has a inboard motor, they put the motor towards the back to give it more weight. They have ballasts that carry water. You can put water in to give them more weight. And that weight and a specially designed hull creates a bigger wake. And so they're good for wakeboarding and wake surfing and stuff like that. But they are destructive to shorelines. The ballasts carry water and can transmit or transport invasive species. And so I'm generally not a fan. And they also are disruptive, apparently, to the bottom of lakes. So the prop is pointed downwards on these because of the angle of the boat in the water. And the folks at the University of Minnesota did these videos here, and you can see this is in 9 feet of water on this video. And there's the prop wash coming through. And geez, I mean, it looks like a atomic bomb's going off underwater here. So it's there's already a lot of things that are negative about these boats, and then to see what they do to the bottom here, I mean, they're harming plant life down here in a little bit. There you can see whole weeds that have the roots and everything hanging off them. They get ripped out of the ground. You can see floating by. So, gosh, I understand that everybody has a right to enjoy the water in their own way, but I mean, these things. Here's another shot. This is from 14 feet of water, and I mean, really, it looks like an atomic bomb going off underwater. So I don't know. A few states have regulations against these boats where they have to be 600 feet from shore or over like 30 feet of water. And I think that is definitely something we're going to need to look at here in Wisconsin because obviously it's not great. But I'm sure there will be more to come to that. And I just maybe I'll try to post the link to these videos in the comments or something below here. I guess that's all the harping I had to do for one day. But I posted earlier this week. We had a little bit of a mix-up with our bait order, and we got a bunch of extra suckers. So I'm trying to get rid of them. Got a good sale on them here. Swing by and stock up if you want. We have the DNS coolers. Still warm out there. You got to keep your worms cool and happy. Swing by and grab those. It's friggin' frogging time still. A lot of weeds. The weeds are a big part of the report this week and every week this time of year. So get some frogs and catch some bass. And then again, we'll be talking about the Gene rig and the Monona rig, which is really just a sinker with a small jig below it. But yeah, got that. Nothing on the door yet. So if you have an event, fishing related especially, I'd be happy to put a poster up. Or if you have something in the neighborhood you want to promote, swing by and drop off a poster. We're happy to do that. I guess that pretty much does it for announcements. Let's see. Tournaments. No tournaments on Saturday across the chain, which is kind of unusual. Sunday, there is a Cast Nation Club Derby event, but that's only 20 boats, and that'll be on the lower chain on Monona, Wabisa, and Kegonsa. So I'm not sure where they're launching out of, but it's not a big tournament. Weather-wise, I'm sure many of you know, southern Wisconsin got dumped on Saturday night, and then a bunch more rain on Monday. Brought us a total of almost 5 inches of rain here in the Madison area. Milwaukee got absolutely drenched with reports of over 12 inches of rain Saturday alone. Here's a thing. This is in Wauwatosa, the Menominee River, which usually is like, I fish it every now and then. It's maybe up to your knees in a lot of spots. Of course, there's a few deeper holes, but I mean, look at the water just raging through here. This bridge here, you can fish underneath it, and the bridge is 8 feet above you when you're wading through there. So, I mean, this is 10, 12, 14 feet high. Who knows? But yeah, Milwaukee just got pounded. So best of luck to everybody over there. I hope they recover from all that. But that rain did cool things down some, and we're starting to see it dry out. It's warm today, but this weekend looks like it's going to be kind of in the 80s. A little chance for rain. But all next week, it looks like it barely cracks 80 degrees. So some great weather to get out and enjoy some summertime fishing. Let's see, the Mendota buoy is reading 77.7 degrees, which is about where we were last week. Yesterday, though, it got up to 80.5 degrees. So these sunny, warm days, that temperature can really jump. It means musky anglers are definitely going to want to be checking temps at least through the weekend. But next week, things will start to cool down. So there should be some good opportunities ahead. Water quality was also kind of been all over the map this week. We did get all that rain, and I'm sure that washed a bunch of stuff into the lakes. And they test for more than just blue-green algae. They test for, you know, E. coli and stuff like that. But it looks like Olbrich, Esther, um, and McDaniel Park are really the only parks that have some issues, and it may not even be blue-green algae. I did hear about the water on Kegonsa. Sounds like it's pretty gross right now. So and green. So I wouldn't be surprised if we had more of that coming up in the next week or so. But generally, as far as fishing goes around the chain, we're still on summer cruise control where not much really changes week to week. That being said, generally speaking, outside weed edges are probably your best bet for finding most species of fish this time of year, especially panfish. Although gills are being found suspended out over deep water and also congregating on mid-lake humps. Otherwise, with the weeds being pretty thick in most shallow areas around town, shore fishing can be tough for panfish, but if you can find pockets in the weeds or places where the weed cutters have been through, you can still find fish. For gills, spikes, waxworms on an ice jig work, redworms on a little bit bigger jig can be good. For crappies, crappie minnows, of course, or a minnow-shaped plastic on a small jig under a bobber is a pretty safe bet. On the perch front, it's still pretty quiet out there. I have been hearing about a few more fish being caught this last week, but nothing real consistent, and weed lines are a good place to start to look for those fish. Largemouth bass have been doing well up shallow with any number of presentations, but again, with the weeds getting thick, weedless plastics and topwater frogs are probably your best bet for largies. Smallmouth bass are still being caught up shallow early and late, but for the most part, they tend to move off to cooler, deeper, rocky areas during the day. There again, any number of slower artificial presentations will work, but drop shotting, slip bobbering, or jigging a fathead minnow, blacktail chub, or crawler can be super effective. Walleye bite around town's been good, especially on Mendota, but if you're fishing from shore, it can be difficult with all the weeds and high water temps lately. If you're in a boat, though, work weed lines on rocky shoreline breaks near shallow flats during the day and move up onto those shallow flats during low light periods. Otherwise, working weed edges or right in the weeds on mid-lake humps is a pretty safe bet to find walleyes in the summer. It's just their typical summer pattern. No matter where you fish on the live bait side of things, minnows will definitely catch walleye, but crawlers have been working very well lately, as is also typical for this time of year. I've also heard some good reports of people trolling crawler harnesses and doing well, mostly on Mendota there. If it's pike you're after, they'll grab just about any lure you throw at them, but with these warmer temps, they tend to be hanging out a little bit deeper or even suspended out over deep water. Muskie action's been very slow, like I said, with long stretches of warm water this summer. I haven't heard much. I did hear about some fish being caught in a brief window like 2 weeks ago, and with the cooler temps coming this next week, we should start to see a lot more action as we move into fall. As for trout, this weekend will probably be a challenge to find water that's locally not still blown out from the last week's rain. But you know, you go up to headwaters, be your just best chance at finding clear water, and the stream temps should be okay, I would think. But I do encourage folks to check temps. If they're over 67 degrees, go find smallmouth or something else to chase. We can go through some of the other spots here around town quick. Cherokee is a weedy mess. You can use topwater frogs and weedless plastics, maybe find some fish. You can launch a small boat at the school road launch and get out and find some fish. Otherwise, the 113 bridge area has a nice mixed bag of fish. I heard about some walleye being caught down there this week, a few bass, and the occasional catfish. Otherwise, most of the catfish have moved out into Lake Mendota, and they're just kind of cruising around. Mostly are near shore. Crawlers seem to work best. Stink bait's also pretty popular this time of year. Not much for cut bait that I hear about. Otherwise, on Lake Mendota, bluegills on the weed lines have been good. You might find some crappies in there, maybe some perch here and there. Also, gills moving out to mid-lake humps. So Dunn's Bar, Brearley Bars, Second Point, Commodore, all are holding gills, but also some walleyes, which I'll talk about here in a sec. Largemouth bass are up shallow in the weeds. Smallmouth bass are being found on rocky shoreline areas, like I said in the intro. Walleyes on those same rocky shoreline breaks. If you got some weeds out there, even better near a shallow flat. Is perfect. But walleye are on mid-lake humps too. In fact, it's kind of funny. The walleye guys complain about catching too many bluegills, and the bluegill guys have been complaining about catching too many walleyes. So I guess you can't make anybody happy these days. But the good news is there's fish to be caught out there. Pike are pretty much everywhere, but generally hang out a little bit deeper, like I said. Otherwise, over here along at Tenney Park, along at the break wall, nice mixed bag of fish there. Always been hearing about some decent bass cruising around and some gar still hanging out. Otherwise, below the locks here, when all that rain, every time it rains, tends to push fish up out of Lake Monona into the river here. So I've been hearing about some good gill action down there and some nice bass being caught on Lake Monona. Bluegills are pretty much everywhere, so you can catch them on weed lines You can catch them suspended out over deep water. You can catch them at the wall. You can catch them in Monona Bay. Um, Actually, the bite of suspended fish sounds like it's been a little slower. Weedlines sound a little bit more productive. Mid-lake humps as well. You got the middle lake hump out here, and rock pile has been good. Turtle Bay, Weechawak, formerly known as Squaw Bay, also great. So there's gills everywhere. I don't hear much about walleyes. Some off the wall at night. They're getting crappies off the wall at night over here. Muskies, again, have been too warm to fish for. Lake Winger's got a bunch of tiny bluegills. The area along the zoo is probably a great place to take a kid. Some largemouth bass in there, and again, I haven't heard much about muskies over there. Um, Moving down the chain, Upper Mud's got some decent panfish action on the weed edge at the dredge hole. Otherwise, some decent smallmouth bass action in the flats around there. Lake Wabisa, same thing, gills on weed lines. Some walleye action down by Babcock Bible Camp area. A little bit off Hog Island, I heard about too. No muskie action that I've heard of to speak of. Bass up shallow, and gills on weed edges. Same thing down on Kegonsa. Last week I talked about some folks getting gills drifting out over deep water. It sounds like that bite's gotten pretty slow, but folks are still finding gills on weed edges. And some walleye down here by the state park. Otherwise, let's see. Rock River, same thing as always. It's been Indian Ford Dam and Jefferson dams have been producing some catfish, from what I hear. Lake Koshkonong, it sounds like there's a decent walleye and white bass bite going on there, although that's pretty much exclusively trolling. Beaver Dam's got some good catfish. Been hearing about some trout showing up on Devil's Lake. Most of those fish suspended like 10, 15 feet down. They haven't moved into shore yet. It's early for that. Otherwise, the Wisconsin River's running surprisingly good. Considering all the rain we got, I'm not sure why it's not up more. But it's definitely, I think it was 8,000 CFS when I checked this morning. So some good conditions out there for that, for trolling, or there's islands, sandbars, and that's where you're going to want to be looking for fish. Downstream side of sandbars, outside corners of bends. If you got a gravel bar, it usually drops off below those. Bridges, area below bridges, anywhere you can find deep water, you're probably going to find fish. Otherwise, the dams are really where it's at, up and down the river. So always a nice mixed bag of fish. Been hearing about some decent catfish action at Prairie du Sac. Lake Wisconsin continues to have a good panfish bite in most of the bays around the lake. Shoreline bass bite's been good, and still a good walleye and sauger bite up there, although the size tends to continue to be a bit of an issue. Otherwise, yeah, like I said, up the river, all your dams, Wisconsin Dells, Castle Rock, Pedenwell, going to have a nice mixed bag of fish. Castle Rock Dam below there is good for some giant flatheads up there, and they get muskies out there too. Otherwise, on the Mississippi River, I haven't heard much over there. It's hot. A lot of folks don't travel over there for the summer. The barge is closed at the Clements barge anyway. It's closed. I think Lynxville is still open, but so I haven't talked to many people going over there. Milwaukee River, I would just stay out of Milwaukee for at least a week here. It's they're recovering from all the flooding and stuff. All the rivers are super high still. I saw that the Menominee River in Wauwatosa that we looked at earlier is still at flood stage. So, and the Milwaukee River, I think, oh yeah, I do have the tab up here. Yeah, I mean, it's running right now. It's running at 4,000 CFS. I don't even step in the water if it's over 600 CFS. So, yeah, let's give Milwaukee a break for a while. Let them recover from what they've had going on over there. Otherwise, out in the Big Lake, the Kings are starting to move in closer to the harbors. They're not in the harbors yet, I don't think, at least not that I've heard, but kind of hanging out near the harbors. They're going to start moving in here in August, and then they will hang out there. And then in September, they start moving up the rivers already. We got Salmon Run. The Salmon Rodeo is at our doorstep, so stay tuned for all of that excitement. Otherwise, as far as trout fishing goes, like I said, you're going to have a hard time finding clear water, I think, this weekend. You could go upstream to, get it way up into some tribs and look for cooler, clearer water, but there you got weeds to contend with. So good luck if you do get out there. If you do find some cold water, husky jerks, jerk baits and stuff like that, Rapalas are always a good option. Crappie size tube jigs work slowly through deeper runs. Panther martins, always catch trout. And a redworm under a bobber, if you want to use live bait, super duper effective for trout. Otherwise, on the fly side of things, we'll do our Happy Fly Day feature, but it's, kind of continue the same stuff as always. Nymphs and stuff always work. hare's ear or a beadhead pheasant tail or scuds, always a good idea. Pink squirrels, they work year round, and so do woolly buggers. Otherwise, on the dry fly side of things are pretty much limited to early mornings, maybe an evening hatch. You might find some caddis pop off, maybe some blue-winged olives early in the morning, but for the most part, it's terrestrial season. And I've been talking about this for weeks now. Ants, beetles, crickets, and the like all work well, but dun, 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 it's hopper season. So um, I guess I'm officially declaring it hopper season. I don't know what that makes me, but anyway, it's hopper time. We just got stocked up on a bunch of hoppers here at the shop. Got all sorts. Got little hoppers. I love this tan hopper here. And then if you want to do hopper dropper rigs, we got this hoppinator, and I can't remember what this other one's called, but they're big and they float and they hold your nymph up very well. So, but yeah, do check your water temps. If they're over 67 degrees, go fish smallmouth on the river. Their flows are good right now. And once the grass starts to come down a bit, those fish will be waiting for us and hungry. So I guess that pretty much does it for the report. I'm glad we were able to knock this out. I do appreciate you tuning in. Please post your comments and catches below. Always love to see those. If you want us to expand on anything or you want any more detail, do feel free to call the shop at 608-241-4225, and we can let you know what's going on around town. Otherwise, I do appreciate you tuning in, as always, and good luck out there, and we will talk to you next week. Thanks so much.